Hi guys, welcome back to our channel, Love.Travel.Nursing. My name is Lou.
And I'm Evans.
Alright guys, so we just want to bring a video to you today just to talk to you guys about how to go about finding housing when you take on your travel nursing assignments. So I'm going to let Evans go ahead and dive in.
Alright guys, so we want to talk to you about finding apartments, how we go about doing it, and the things we've used, and also like a few safety tips, a few things to keep in mind. The first thing we want to say is we want to talk about the app that we use. We use Furnish Finder for most of our apartments that we've used. I would say one thing, Furnish Finder is more like it's also like Airbnb, but there are some pros and cons to it. I would say a few pros is that when it comes to Furnish Finder, the price is usually better because you don't have to pay the fees that comes on, when dealing with Airbnb. So that is something to keep in mind. However, you also have to think you are more responsible, I would say, for the damages and things like that to the place. Because you don't have that protection that comes with paying fees. So if you can look at it as a pro and cons thing. And we've always tried to use some companies in the past. Like right now we're using a company called Casa, K-A-S-A. The thing about those is the way it works is these companies, they would take, they go to an apartment building, and what they do is they rent out a few apartments and they sublease.
Yeah.
They sublet them to people. So we usually prefer the company instead of going directly to someone, because with that you tends to deal with a company that has more experience. They have more going on, and it's usually a better experience than it is just dealing with a landlord. And one thing is always make sure you have a contract with them. So we make sure they get a contract going, and you sign it, you look at it, go over it, just to make sure you protect yourself as well.
Yeah. So another company that we've used is Airbnbs. I believe we used that once, maybe throughout the time that we've been traveling. Some pros for that is you do have the protection for yourself because you are paying all those extra fees to Airbnb. So that's something that, if you're looking for something like that, then that'd be a good pro. And then one of the cons is it's a little bit more expensive. So compared to the apartments on Furnish Finders, Airbnb is a lot more just expensive, and it could be like the same apartment, and it's literally maybe $1,000 more.
Yeah, we've compared and contrast, and that's one thing. You do take a risk with Furnish Finder, and it's not as exact as an Airbnb. It's not as updated as Airbnb. So basically, it's not like, how you go on Airbnb and you can see the dates and be like, oh yeah, that's the dates it's available. Let me just click that date.
Right.
On Furnish Finder, you have to reach out to the landlord or whoever the company, the number, and then it could say, hey, that place been available since October, but when you talk to them, they say no, it's not available until next year or something like that.
Right.
So they don't, they don't update it as they should. And that's just something to think about. You have to do more legwork, I would say, because usually we have to message a few properties before we get one. But I would say that saving the money is worth the legwork for me.
Absolutely. And then just some safety tips, you guys. When you do finally sign that contract at whatever hospital you'll be working at in whatever city, whatever state, you just want to make sure that you do research about the area that the hospital is in. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to live in that same area that the hospital's in, but you want to try to get somewhere close, so you don't have too far of a commute. But just before you sign on with any apartment you find on Furnish Finders that's within the radius of the hospital, you just want to make sure that it's a safe area. Because we actually took an assignment, and the area that the hospital was in was not so safe. So I'm really glad that we did our research, so we didn't just say, oh, hey, there's an apartment like 5 minutes away from the hospital. Let's get that one.
5 minutes away.
Yeah, and they exist. That's the thing. And they're not going to tell you, like, oh, this is a rough area. However, so you just have to do the research for yourself.
You have to do the research. And, it might cost even more money to stay somewhere you feel safe, but safety outweighs the cost, because we had a contract in New Jersey, and we had to stay in Philly for most of it, and we had to pay the toll as well every time we went to work. Well, I think every time we came back from work, but either way, that's more spending, but you also have to make sure you're safe. We couldn't find anywhere around the hospital that that we felt safe, so we had to go to Philly. So it's just a lot to take in and a lot to look into. You have to make sure you do your research. It could be something as simple as going on Google and type in, what is the safest area to stay, like we're in Milwaukee, Wisconsin right now. What is the safest area to stay in Milwaukee, Wisconsin? Right. And then they'll give you a list. They'll tell you, hey, this area has less crime. They have less this. They have more this, more that. So basically this is what I'm getting myself into, because you go into somewhere and let's be honest, traveling is not, all what do the people say? Flowers and peaches and cream. Yeah. It's not all peaches and cream. A lot of people just, they hear like, oh, you travel, but you're making money, this and that. But it's a lot more into it. It's a lot of work that you have to do, a lot of things you have to make sure you take into account, and your safety is gonna be, the number one, and also you have to be aware of where you go and how the driving will be and everything like that. Because when we lived in Philly, the driving there was just, it's like people. I don't know how they got that, but that's another story.
That's another story.
But it's just we just wanted to talk to you guys today, give you a few things to keep in mind. Make sure to comment if you have any questions, and if you guys need help with anything like Furnish Finder or Airbnb, you have questions for us, because we've been doing this for 2 years now. Not saying we have the most experience, but we have stayed at a few places, and we've had our fair share of like, oh my God, why did we pick this place?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's trial and error.
But you learn from it.
Absolutely. Another thing that I'll mention really quick is if you are traveling with pets, you want to make sure that you filter your search by pet friendly. Not every single place accepts pets. So that could be a determining factor of if you're going to get the place or not. So you want to make sure that you look for that as well.
And when they do, they would want them to be certain size. Like this guy is 18 pounds, so he's fine. But a lot of places will tell you, hey, we don't accept pets this big. So you have to make sure like you keep that in mind. And if it's 2 pets, then also they charge you. And you have to, when you get to the place, you also have to make sure that you take certain precautions to, to protect yourself, so you're not charged for the rugs and stuff like that. Like one thing we do every time we get somewhere, we always put the rugs away. We kind of just roll them up, we put them in the, somewhere, so this guy right here doesn't,
have a field day.
He knows exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, he knows. He knows.
Thank you guys. Anything else?
No, that's all. I think we hit the major points. But if you guys have any questions, please let us know below in the comments. We would love to help in any way that we can. But thank you so much for watching, for tuning in, for all of your support. We are forever grateful, and we love you guys, and we will see you soon.
See you soon. Bye.